Welcome to the Creative Coaching Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Lopez Jr. Follow us on Twitter at CreativeCoach47 and on YouTube at Creative Coaching Podcast. Hope you enjoyed this episode, and thanks a bunch for listening. Welcome to the podcast, Coach.
Always good to be on. Excited about it.
Good thing, Coach. I appreciate you so much for being on, taking time and making the time. And just, man, being a part of what we do here. Love featuring coaches from all over different regions. Now you're on the West Coast there at Sacramento State, and to get your perspective and be with us, I do appreciate it so much. So I'm going to start off like I do with every podcast, Coach. And how were you introduced to the game of basketball coming out of Norfolk, Nebraska?
Well, it's kind of, nobody had ever graduated college in my family, so I kind of self-taught myself the game. Had to go to a couple schools. Finished at a Division II in Minnesota, and in that process, I knew I wanted to coach. And my college coach got me set up with a junior college in Kansas to go be an admissions counselor, dorm director, and assistant men's basketball coach back in 2003. So that was the start.
Wow, that's amazing. I mean, that's where you become a jack of all trades in those situations. And then so when you're where you're at and moving forward, wherever you'll end up at, whatever that looks like, you'll have the pulse of everybody. You'll know what everybody's roles are, and maybe not so much how to do them because things change over time, but you'll know from the ground up how things should probably look. And so that's fantastic, Coach. Some people would take that as like, oh man, I got to start off doing this and then I got to do that. But it's a blessing. It's not even in disguise. It's like a real blessing as you start your journey. And I've seen that with a lot of coaches. So that's fantastic. Now, what was your experience with those who coached you, Coach? Because that's always one of the things that I like to hear from coaches is like, how are you coached and how did that go?
Well, Jeff Gill was my college coach that I finished up with, and he said I was the toughest kid he's ever coached. Not that doesn't mean the most skilled, but the toughest, and that means just showing up every day, grinding. And that's the one thing that I always wanted to leave my mark is effort was never a question, and that led me to a lot of the success that I've had or opportunities I've had now in my coaching careers. I've tried to instill that same work ethic that I played with.
That's fantastic, Coach. Yeah. No, man, I hear back from some of my old coaches, and in particular football, and when I was in high school, one of my coaches said, our head coach, he said, he was the best linebacker we ever had. And man, that did something to me because there's all these other things that I've had success in life, and they've been very fulfilling. A father of four, things of that nature. But man, to hear that from him was like, wow. And so I understand what you're saying, that whole affirmation, if you will, to get that tag is great. Now, I want to ask you who or what influenced you to go into the coaching profession, because we all kind of have our kind of like with that moment where we're saying like, man, I'm done playing the game and now I'm doing it because of this, that, or the third. What was it for you, Coach?
My college coach had told our teammates that if you need to know the scouting report, or if you need to know the game plan or our playbook, ask Aaron,
Wow.
because that's how much it meant to me. My goal in coaching, even though I started at the lowest level, started at the bottom, was that I wanted to be able to coach in gyms that I wasn't able to play in. So I wanted to coach pros, which I've been fortunate. I've coached 39 of them in my career. That was my mentality, and it just was, show up. I have two rules. I sign a 1-day contract every day, hoping wherever I'm at that I'll get with that mentality, that they would want me back the next day. And then, I don't ever get beat to the office 2 days in a row.
Wow.
That's just been the mentality, and it's gave me opportunities. And it hasn't been easy, but it's something that it's opened up doors.
Yeah, no, you're not guaranteed anything, but you're guaranteed something good's going to happen if you do those things. Because if you don't, you're guaranteed to fail at some point because of that. So that's great, Coach. That work ethic goes a long way, and it's contagious as well. And I'm sure you've seen that kind of multiplied into other people. Now I want to ask you, Coach, What was your welcome to coaching moment where you felt like, oh man, this is it? I'm not a player anymore. This is a little bit more than I had even imagined, but here I am. Do you have a moment like that?
Yeah, probably when we won the junior college national title back in 2013 when I was at Trinity Valley Junior College in Texas. The opportunity, all 10 kids on that team that we had went Division One. 7 of them ended up playing some sort of pro. I think that was the moment, and that was the next year I went and became a Division One assistant. And so the last 11, 12 years of being on the Division One level, there's been a lot of them moments.
Yep.
But that's where it started at.
That's cool, coach. Now it's a great experience and one of those things that's almost surreal where you think to yourself, wow, this is actually happening. And it did.
Right.
And so that's fantastic. And those experiences, some people don't come by those at all in the coaching profession. And it was good that you had that kind of earlier on than most. Now, I want to ask you, because right now, I mean, we're looking at NIL, things of that nature. And we all want to be transformational. Like that's what we all say as coaches. Like, I want to be transformational. I want to make a difference. But what percentage of coaching now do you think, especially at the Division 1 level, is transactional?
You're looking at it's a high percentage of that, just because people are judged on their wins and losses.
Yeah.
What allows you, to keep stay at a job or get a better job in people's mindset. So I would say a high percentage, and that's why you're seeing a lot of the older coaches or the coaches that have been around and done it for a long time, in their way, either retire or step away from the game. So like that's a big part of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's kind of, they were waiting for a cue of some sort to say, hey, exit stage left. And fortunately for them, it wasn't their health, things of that nature. But, the writing was on the wall like, hey, this is a young man's game. I mean, it's kind of always been that. And it's not changed. It's getting even younger, I guess, because of that. And so, yeah, I get what you're saying. But yeah, I think the ones who were like so transformational now feel like that's gonna go away because you got a guy in for 1 year, a young lady for 1 year, and then that's it. Like it's hard to build those relationships, even to the point where that player may not want that anyways. They're just there to do a job.
Right.
So understood completely, coach. Now, as far as where you're at Sacramento State, things are looking pretty for the athletic program, looking really great now that y'all got Mike Bibby on board over there, and just a little bit more visibility. And now Shaq too, right? This craziness is going to ensue, I'm sure. Which I think that's always the goal of every college campus is to build or to generate fan excitement, student engagement, things of that nature. What kind of impact do you think that's going to have on the athletic program, coach?
It's going to have a huge impact because they can, Mike and Shaq both can appeal um, to the fan, to
Yeah.
the person that loves basketball. The thing even in Mike's short time here, we have a great relationship already. Been really impressed by his ability to interact and engage with both men's and women's coaches and connecting. I was fortunate to coach Mimi, Shaq's daughter, at LSU
Yeah.
for a year. So I know what kind of character he presents. He's a bigger than life statue, but he's also probably one of the best human beings as far as coming across and really like looking to help out people. I would say that's to
Yeah.
make an impact. So it's a really good times here at Sacramento State. Starts with our president Luke Wood and our athletic director Mark Orr. Um, they're trying to make this a winning all around place, and it's not just for men's and women's basketball. So a lot of positives. A lot of positives.
Yeah, I'm sure you have to be all in, and you're your president, your AD have to be all in on these type of decisions because with the visibility comes a lot of scrutiny as well. High profile people such as themselves, and then you add that to athletics, which is already kind of scrutinized anyways from the public's view, especially at a state school where you're talking about funds and allocating funds. But yeah, there's more good that'll come out of that than whatever noise is in the wind. So it's an exciting time, like you said, coach, and I think it's I know I'm gonna keep my eye on all of it and see what's going on because it seems really, really unique and different now. As far as success is concerned, coach, because you talked earlier about winning at the JUCO level, and you've had success at the Division 1 level, and everywhere you've been, you've had success. Now, maybe not the ultimate like a natty or anything all the time, but you know what success is, coach. But what do you consider success overall?
At the end of the day, the ability to connect. I know we talked about the transactional and transformational.
Hmm.
Um, there's a couple days a year that you can be judged by the people you've touched, and one of them is Father's Day for me. Um, I always look forward to hearing my former players. Sometimes you don't know you touch them until 10 years or so
Yeah,
down when they're getting married or they're having kids or they're getting that promotion or another pro contract. That's success to me. Is the ability to, when my time is done as a coach, who did I touch and how did I impact people? And that's been a big part of it. And I think that's, I'm starting to see it as I get older in
hmm,
the coaching business for a while, that I've got people's daughters that I've coached. I mean, people that now I'm coaching their daughters, their nieces, or people are acquaintances because the impact I was able to have on them.
yeah,
They believe that I can have the same impact on people that are close to them.
yeah. You have daughters, coach, so you understand that dynamic, and you're not going to just let your daughter go with whoever or wherever, especially when it comes to committing to a long period of time and saying, "I'm going to let my daughters leaving to college, and I'm putting them in your hands, and you're responsible to a degree, and you're responsible for them, and you're responsible to the parents as well." That's kind of the dynamic with when coaching on the women's side of things, especially. So when you get those phone calls and those happy Father's Day and the wedding invites, yeah, I get it. It means a lot because, like you said, sometimes it's delayed gratification. Like you don't hear about it till later, but you hear about it sooner with females than you do with the guys. The guys, it's like 20 years later. They're like, yeah, I remember that one time. I really appreciate it. I'm like, well, man, every time I said something, you were looking up into the stars. I mean, you were paying attention. But with on the women's side, they're a little bit more in tune and they listen. And so yeah, that's great, coach. Very, very fulfilling. I get that completely. Now I want to ask you about mentorship, coach, because it's really important, I think, for all of us as coaches to have somebody in our lives to mentor us, to help us along the way, especially in the profession, because of the ups and downs, ebbs and flows, firings and hirings, all that, right? The landscape. How important is mentorship to you, coach?
Huge. Was fortunate. Some of the people I've really counted on over the years, Brian Agler, that used to be, WNBA coach, Kevin McGuff, who's the head coach at Ohio State now, Vic Schaefer provides a huge impact at Texas. And, I can go, I was fortunate, Nikki, to be on her staff at OSU. There's quite a few, but mentorship is important because it allows you to absorb knowledge that you're looking for, but also having a sounding board when you need help.
Yeah.
I think I think that's key, because that helps you get through the tough times, but it also uh, makes you able to connect with people that you feel have the answers that you might be looking for.
Yeah, I like that, coach. A sounding board. I think that's important because we learn from different people in different ways. And then when we have our opportunity to, like you have there at Sacramento State, to be the CEO, you know what you know about what you're going to do, but you still want to bounce some things off people and get feedback. Feedback is super important for us because everybody within our circle sometimes is, yeah, you're doing great, everything's great, and may not be great. And somebody from the outside that's not so close that you can trust at least can give you critical feedback and necessary feedback. So yeah, I agree wholeheartedly, coach. It's really important to have those mentors, especially like the ones you named that you rolled out. Like, man, those are good people to lean on. Been there, done that type people, right? And so some of them have been where you're headed still in your career. And now, coach, I want to ask you about how important it is for coaching up the next generation of coaches, because with here again the landscape always changing ever so often, and this NIL thing being what it is, and opportunities being even smaller now because coaches come and they're moving from one spot to the next. It doesn't seem like a lot of people are getting a shot from other levels. So, what's your thoughts on that about coaching up the next generation, Coach? How important is that?
It's real important. I actually spoke on a panel at the Final Four to the Next Generation Institute, and the one thing that I always tell them is be reliable. I think that's the one thing that when you're looking and you're trying to find people that can help you as a head coach, and you got to find people that are reliable. And so
Mm.
I think when their opportunities come, you got to be able to network with all different kinds of circles to give you opportunities too. Uh,
Yeah,
don't don't just I call it don't just fish in a small area, but give yourself cast it wide. So it gives you an opportunity to see what you got. There's some people. One of the things, the best things I've ever done, and I'm thankful for my wife and my family for it, is they've always been willing to move.
yeah,
Um, my kids have lived in all the time zones in the U.S. All four of them. We've moved 11 times, owned 8 houses, and so my kids are durable, and that's what I kind of preach to the up and comers is be durable and don't be afraid for the no. It's kind of like in recruiting. You sometimes got to get a bunch of no's just to get a yes.
yeah. It makes the no's make the yes that much more sweeter, right? Yeah, to a degree, right? And so, yeah, I like how you say it kind of weathers your family, it weathers people, and not everybody's built for that. And I think when it comes to mentoring or getting the next generation ready, they have to understand to you may love the game, but you got to know the business.
Right,
And like you talked about networking in different areas and who's like it's not about just about who you know, it's about who knows you,
right.
things of that nature. So that's great stuff, Coach. Now I want to ask you about yourself because you've been coaching now for about over 20 years now. So I would ask you, Coach, what have you learned about yourself throughout your career?
Be durable. Um, there's been opportunities throughout the years that I'm like, is this for me? Is
Yeah,
this and then right on the other side of that was something better than what I was doing or where I was at. So I kind of, I knew I was tough, but then I kind of proved to myself, and a lot of it I couldn't have done without my wife, couldn't have done without a good support system around me. But it's there's still moments I just look and I'm like, I really get to do this. This is what I get to do, and I always, my kids laugh at me because they're like, "Hey, Dad, you good?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm built for it." And they're like, "Wait." And so now my little 9-year-old, when somebody asks her and times are tough, she goes, "I'm built for it." And
yeah,
so it's yeah, it's been tough, a lot of tough, a lot of tough moments, but it's been worth it because it's gave me the opportunity to do what I enjoy.
yeah. Being durable is something that it's translates. You know how we're always looking for kids and their skill set, how it translates, right? Well, that's a translatable skill to
Right.
to to being a basketball coach, a leader, a husband, a father, a son, whatever you are, right? Being durable and available, things of that nature.
Yep.
Super important, coach. So that's fantastic. Now you talk about your support system. How important is your support system, whether it's at home, your coaching staff, all that collectively? How important is that to you?
It's huge. Your support system a lot of times is everything. I feel, my wife is the number one. Um, she was actually my assistant when I was a junior college head coach for a little bit.
Wow.
And so I've got a strong support system, but it starts and ends with her.
Yeah.
So it's been good, but then also sometimes you don't need a support system. You just need yourself.
Mm,
Sometimes you just need to look at yourself and be like, I got this.
yeah.
And there's a lot of them moments because you're going to struggle. You're going to have plenty of struggles. But that's what also makes, iron sharpens iron. So make sure you got the right people around you.
Yeah. No, you're right about that. Iron sharpening iron. That's something that motivates me to connect with people more often than not, and never to shy away from making new friends,
Right.
and trying not to be the smartest guy in the room, which isn't that hard to do sometimes.
Yeah.
But you know, you kind of want always wanting to make sure you're around people who can sharpen you up, and then in any way possible, if you could reciprocate that, that's great stuff. Now,
100%.
Coach, I want to ask you about mental health and emotional health for coaches. because we think about that in terms for players, right? Since COVID, things of that nature, the pauses in life that we've had because of that. We focused a lot on the athlete, but ourselves and in the coaching profession. How important is mental health and emotional health for coaches?
Oh, it's huge. It's huge. Things that factor in the highs and lows of coaching are real.
Yeah,
Um, Especially when you're taking over the helm of something. Every day you're judged by wins and losses, and you're wondering, you're perceived in the media and this and that. But it's also the emotional side. It's hard. It's the second highest divorce rate is in coaching,
yeah,
uh, and so it takes a toll, and you're gone a lot. So that goes back to you have to have the right support system around you, but it is real. But not just the emotional and mental health of the coaches. You got to be in touch with your players' mental and emotional health too, especially
yeah,
on the side. You got to be able to read the room and understand when somebody might need help, and it never hurts to ask them. So that's a big message I always tell others too: is check on your people, and that doesn't mean your players too. That means check on your coaching staff, check on your strength coach, your trainer, make sure they're always good because sometimes you don't know the battles that people are fighting.
yeah. At all. I mean, I think the ability to be more sensitive to those things, being other aware, the emotional IQ. I think there needs to be more training on that, especially here again, like you said, on the women's side. Having jumped to that side this past season, I learned it better than I'd ever have. Even still living with four women in my house, I still need to learn more. There's never this point where I feel like I know it all, because once I feel that happens, something else pops up, and it's just really important overall to have that other awareness and that emotional IQ. And so that's fantastic, Coach. I think having your hand on the pulse of those things really shows how much you care, because they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care, right?
Right.
Kind of that idea. Now, I want to ask you, Coach, what is your why? Why do you do what you do? Because for doing it as long as you have, there has to be this great why. Why do you do what you do, Coach?
Because I get to go do things that I get to go coach the game that I self-taught myself. Um, and a lot of people might do it for the money or the status. I really do it for the uh, the chance to make a difference on other people.
Yeah,
Sometimes it's people, for a long time it was their avenue to give them a better life or to give them an education. So my why in life is my three kids and my wife. Besides a brother, my parents are dead. My sister has passed. Like a lot of people close to me in my life are no longer with us. So I try to cherish the people that are with me. So that's why I try to be an impact. Um, my dad was killed when I was younger, so I want to be a great dad. I think that's a big thing to me.
yeah. That's important to fill those gaps, if you will, because they are gaping holes in our lives when we lose people, especially that important and that close to us. Uh, there needs to be something to take its place. And somehow, in God's infinite wisdom, He provides us those people and those opportunities, and your family, your kids, your wife, your players, even to a degree, uh, kind of fill some of those gaps to a degree that make you feel like, yeah, your why is there. There's a lot of people don't know their why, so when they have a loss of life, a loss of a family member, a loved one, there seems to be no direction or no end in sight for the pain and the grieving, right?
Right.
And so that's great, Coach. I'm glad to hear that, because even in and we learn more from losses, right, than we do wins. And so yeah, I mean, I completely get it. Now, my last question, Coach, is always kind of about legacy, and I know you got a long ways to go. I'm not putting you out to pasture or anything, but what would you want to be said of you when your time in the game is over, Coach?
That I left it out there and that I tried to make an impact on the people that I was able to coach with and coach against. So I think that's going to probably be my big thing is just to make sure that I left it out there. Like there was no, like I showed up every day to work. I showed up every day to give my players the best opportunity to be successful on and off the floor.
Coach, I appreciate your time again, man. I really do. I'm glad we were able to do this. I was looking forward to it. I know you were as well. And man, here again, excited to see what your future holds. Going to be keeping on your side of the things and the men's side of things and what's going on in Sacramento State, because I'm sure it's big, big, big things. And here again, man, just appreciate your time for being on and sharing your thoughts and your and an insight to your life with us.
Absolutely. And anytime anybody's out in Sacramento, men's, women's, it doesn't matter, for basketball or whatever reason, go ahead and look me up. I'm always looking to connect, and I'm a people person. So fortunate to get to do what I do, and but at the same time, always looking forward to making more connections.
I'm gonna hold you that, coach. I'll be in California this summer, so I might want to come by and catch a practice for a workout. So I appreciate you so much again, coach. Thank you.
Thanks. Have a good night.
Likewise.